everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. I'm just having a play with these beautiful papers that I received in the post yesterday. As you may or may not be aware, I was waiting on their arrival so I could start my next project, and I'm feeling rather inspired by them. They are just so beautiful, and I've been trying to work out in my head how I can do them justice. So I had actually hoped that there would be 2 of each page in the set so that I had papers to play with, and that hasn't been the case. So I've been busy trying to work out what papers I could use to I'm lost for words, to enhance what beauty there is already in these papers. So I was pleasantly surprised to find that my tea dyed papers will actually mesh beautifully with the colours that are in these papers. So that was really exciting for me, and a little unexpected. So I'm somehow going to incorporate those colours into the journal, and then I've been going through what I have and searching online to see if I could find some papers that I thought would work beautifully. I do have the eco dyed papers from Gayle Agostinelli, and I printed them previously for another project and they were a little bit vibrant in their colours, so I've actually printed those onto tea dyed paper. Just checking I'm in camera. And I love how they've come out. It's toned down those colours. As you know, my aesthetic is the vintage tones, and when I printed them onto the white, they were just that little bit vibrant for my style. So I've had a little play with one of the file folders. I have only printed these on paper and not on card. I would have loved this to have been on card, but sadly, as I've mentioned before, my oven isn't working, so tea dyeing at the moment is far and few between. Sometimes the oven works, sometimes it doesn't, so I get in some tea staining when I can, but at the moment it's deciding not to play the game, so I do only have the tea stained paper to play with, but I ended up lining it with just some tea stained lined paper, and I actually really love that. I may have to press it to get it to sit flatter, because as you can see it's developed a little bit of a curl, but I really love the way that came out. And I was just having a flick through the papers to see how it would work. I knew that I'd checked before I started playing with the paper, but I couldn't remember where I thought it would work, and it was actually these papers here. If I lay that down there, I'm hoping you can see. It's picking up the pinks in this side, but it's also picking up some of the purples in this side. So absolutely beautiful. So I plan on incorporating some of those into this journal. Exactly how, I don't know. That's all part of the fun and games, is that I get to play and be creative with my processes. So, and I was also, I actually was watching a video of Gayle Agostinelli's. I think it was her altered book that she's been working on recently that I was watching, and I have a lot of videos to catch up on at the moment. And she had papers there from AntiquePaperie, and I hadn't come across them before, so I went investigating, and I've purchased and printed a couple of their digital kits to have a play with. I'm really excited with these papers. I mean, just look at how they're going to complement. I mean, they complement each other, don't they? And I'm super excited about finding things that will work cohesively together. Unfortunately, this one actually, the page was curled when it printed, so, but I haven't decided what I'm using them for yet. And I'm sure I can work around that. Now, I did actually have a play with trying to do double-sided, and sadly I actually have one here that I ended up with a double print image, so I'm not quite sure what I'll do with that yet, but we'll see. So, and then I've printed these pages large, and I'll move that down again so that you can just see how they blend in. I just love them. And I've had a little look through AntiquePaperie's shop. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And oh my goodness, they are amazing. Absolutely incredible. Look at those papers. I mean, I love them just as they are. I don't know how I'm going to make them even more beautiful, but goodness me. So I've got those there to play with as well. And I've been trying to find my mojo actually. Oh, I also have, I purchased these cards as well. So I've actually printed these on card, and then I printed them on digital matte photo paper. I just wanted to see the difference. I tend to be steering towards the cardboard more because I like that vintage feel. The matte photo paper, although it's matte, it has a slightly crisper and brighter tone to it. I don't know if you can see with the cakes there. I'm hoping that's displaying clearly. I just find this one's a little bit brighter, especially in the cake area here. You can see these tones are a little bit more muted than over here. Either way, they're both beautiful and I will use them both, but I was trying to decide which paper I wanted to keep in my stash for future reference, so I think I'm going to steer towards the card, which I will have to order more because I'm almost out of that, and I really need to order some more. So having said that and looked into what I could use to complement what I'm working on, I think I just said I've been trying to find my mojo, and I have been moving my craft room as I've mentioned before, and as a result I have chaos. I spent the morning moving some more things. I'm lacking in storage in my new space. Although my new space is bigger, I'm lacking in storage, but I'm also planning on emptying out another room and using the storage in that room. But for now that room hasn't been emptied, so everything is coming into this space, and I was trying to get my head around this new journal, and I was finding it really difficult to even think. Like, my thought process just wasn't there, and I don't know whether I felt like it was because I had things in two separate places, and my mind didn't seem complete because I was racking my brain trying to think of things that I could use and do, and I was literally moving between the two spaces. So I have moved a lot more things this morning, but I've decided to sit down and have a play. Now, the collage sheets from AntiquePaperie have inspired me, so I'm just going to have a little play, I think, and hopefully that will help my mojo return. Now, I have here, in amongst my hot mess, thank goodness you can't actually see what's going on my desk. I have here, it's a tea-stained file folder. It's quite large, so I thought I could use my guillotine, but my paper cutter, but I don't think I can. So I might just use a pair of scissors, and I just want to cut. Now, I have no idea how this is going to go. I am literally just going to have a play with some collage and maybe a little bit of mixed media. I haven't decided. I'm thinking I could possibly use these to create some tags. So that's kind of where my mind's at. So I just want this to be my starting surface. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but that's okay. Now, which side? I might collage on this side, I think. And I might use a glue stick to begin with. As you can see, as usual, I haven't really thought this process through. I finished moving things around and I stopped to have something to eat, and I went, I need to play. I need to just go back to basics and have a little play. So I have lots of bits and pieces here beside me, and I'm literally going to do just that. I'm just going to have a little play. I've got some music paper. Now, I know I've said before I'm the queen of inking, and I'm thinking I'm not going to, I hope you're all sitting down, I'm not going to ink for this process. We'll see how that goes, because it could possibly mess with my head and I may start rocking slowly in the corner. But because I'm planning on using these as backgrounds for tags, I am thinking I will leave the inking process for that stage. We'll see how that goes. So now, I don't want to think too much about this actually. I just want to play. I just want to pop pieces on here and see how it comes out. I hope I'm not moving you around too much. As I said, I've got a new camera set up, so I'm not really used to having it. Well, let's be fair, I'm not used to having any of my crafting space set up the way it is. I did just say to my husband, what was I thinking moving my craft room? I was in a very, very small space, like tiny space, and there was enough room for my chair, and I was surrounded by things, which when I'm the only person in there, that's fine by me, but it was a little bit out of control. And we decided that perhaps I could use, so we have what we refer to as a little lounge room. It was actually the existing lounge area in our home when we first moved in here quite some time ago, and we are empty nesters, so we don't tend to use this space all that much. And my hubby and my mum, bless her, love you mum, she mentioned the other day she still hasn't watched any of my videos. She's very busy. She's a crafter herself and she loves to craft. And she was feeling bad, and I said to her, Mum, it's fine. Like, if you have a chance, you have a chance. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm literally just letting you know what I'm up to. So yeah, my hubby and my mum talked me into utilizing the larger space for my crafting, and I think it will be fabulous when I've got it all set up and I've got extra storage in here that I need and that sort of thing. But it is going to be a work in progress. It's not something I'm going to be able to just step in and do straight away. So I need to be patient, guys. That's the bottom line. Okay. Oops. Shouldn't sit things on my glue book. They stick. Don't know if I just bumped the camera with my head. Sorry if I did. I don't actually know if you can see. This piece of card is so wide. I do have my glue book sitting to the side here, so I don't think I can get it all in camera for you unless I zoom right out, and then you won't be able to see so easily. So I'm hoping this is okay for viewing. One that is getting a little bit tacky. Actually, I might pop it that way. Why not, she says, why not? I've collected little pieces from my last project, from my wedding journal, and I've got some of those sitting on my desk as well. And I have this very large file folder. As you can see, it is chocolate block full of scraps, and it's probably not the best way to store it because it all starts to fall out if I move it to the wrong side or shift the weight of it in that file folder, which isn't necessarily ideal. But oh, sorry guys, but changing up my storage space is all part of my moving process, so I'm kind of hoping that that will sort itself out. I do have these little stamped images here with no real purpose. I'm going to use that. I do have, sorry you can't see guys, I'm literally just talking to myself, just rediscovering bits that I have in my stash, really. It may be messing with my head a little, not inking these as I go. Okay, it doesn't need to be straight either. I was watching Tracie Fox's video this morning where Tracie was playing with some tiny embellishments that she has in her shop. And have you ever watched somebody craft and you go, no, I like it crooked, I like it crooked, and you know jolly well that they're going to make it straight? More power to you, Tracie, not judging at all. It's just that my mind was going, leave it crooked, leave it crooked. And I absolutely love what Tracie created using her tiny embellishments, and I hope to have a little play with that idea sometime down the future myself, but I'm not sure that was very good grammar. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But I don't even know what I said now. I just know it wasn't right. The words that came out of my mouth were not right. But yes, I hope to have a little play with that idea at some stage. They were fabulous. I'm literally just using up scraps here. Just glancing across at the paper pack and the papers I have, just because I want things to tie in if they can. It's not a necessity, but I would like a little bit of cohesiveness, so that's my aim. Okay. I'm really worried I'm going to create an avalanche here, and I'm going to have things falling all over the floor shortly. So if you hear me cry out in terror, that could possibly be what's happened. It's like I had some Tracie Fox collage sheets some scraps from my last project that I wanted to use for this. I found them. But I do want a torn edge. My fingers are sticky from the glue. Makes this process interesting. So does anybody else ever find themselves in a funk when it comes to starting a new project? I seem to get part of the way into the project and I'm full steam ahead, but the actual starting, I actually do that when I watch a TV show or I read a book or I watch a movie. Sometimes I have trouble moving from one world to the next. So particularly a TV series or book, if I've been immersed in that series or book for some time and all of a sudden it stops, I've finished it, I find it really difficult to start my next story or to start watching my next series because I'm still caught up in that world with those people and oh, it's so hard. Whoops. And I actually miss the characters. Does anybody else do that, or is that just me? I miss the characters that I've grown to love from a certain series or from a book that I'm reading, which does make me very excited if, for instance, the book becomes a movie because I can revisit those characters, but I just don't like it when they end. Okay, what to do, what to do? I know I said I wouldn't ink, so I'm actually going to tear that ink off. I don't know why I inked that in the first place, so I must have been thinking of using it for something and it didn't come to fruition. I will apologise in advance too. I had a terrible night's sleep last night. I think I only ended up getting about 3 hours. And I was so not ready to wake up this morning, but my eyes were bright and bubbly and the rest of me was not, and I could not go back to sleep. So, and I struggled to get to sleep. I tossed and turned all night. I don't think I've been faring too badly today as a result, but I'll go that way. But yeah, we are getting later into the day and who knows when fatigue will take a hold. And I am just using my bone folder to burnish things down and make sure they adhere properly. Okay, where did I put my double print? Maybe I could use some of that on here. The colours are so pretty. I think we're due for another cold change. We've had the fire on and then we've had it off, and it's been off for a couple of days now, and I feel like it's getting closer to us needing it again. It's actually quite overcast outside at the moment. I don't know if you heard me mention in a previous video that I didn't understand when I first started this process of journaling how people ended up with scraps. How they were forever trying to use their scraps. Well, I'm getting a bigger picture of that now. Although my cards, as you saw in a previous video, are a great way to use those. Oh, I like the fact that that covers the stamp a little in my in-camera. I might do that there, actually. So, what do I want to put here? Decisions, guys. Oh yes, I like that. This brown paper is actually some of the paper that I use to make my recycled paper. And I find all sorts of uses for it. I love it. Oh, there I go being all quiet. That's the sleep deprivation setting in. Okay. I must say it is nice to actually sit down and just have a play after all this time. I feel like it's been forever. I've done little bits here and there with my crafting, but nothing major because of everything that we've had going on. So it is lovely to just sit and literally let it all go. No real thinking. Just doing. And I don't mind that this has the double print on it for this purpose, so it's a good way to use up that little boo-boo. Oh yes. My printer doesn't actually do double-sided printing, it only does single-sided, so I have to feed it through. Oh, I think I've got the table wobbles, sorry guys. I tried to feed it through by hand to print on the other side, and clearly it was not successful. Oops. Okay, and I probably won't use the whole width of that. Oh gosh, you guys, I meant to say, I was fortunate enough to be gifted some amazing books. I had to go and collect a couple of days ago. There are some beautifully aged books in amongst the collection, and it's quite a large collection. I haven't quite worked out where I'm going to store them, so they are sitting in some plastic tubs at the moment, but I can't wait to share them with you all. Some of them are incredibly huge. I was I actually tried to lift up the tubs, to be fair, and put them in the back of my car when I collected them, and the tub, it didn't even move off the ground, and I was like, what is in here? So I opened up the tub, and honestly, one of the books I picked up was, oh gosh, it was bigger than this piece of card, I think, or around that size. It was and it was this thick. That could be an exaggeration, but it was really thick. And I just went, well, no wonder my tiny little muscles aren't lifting that up off the ground. But I was so overwhelmed at how generous this gift was. And there is also a beautiful crocheted tablecloth that is in my washing. I need to freshen it up, but it is just gorgeous. So I'm super excited about that too, and that was totally unexpected. So I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes I just feel so incredibly lucky at some of the things that people have given me to use as part of my journaling process. People's generosity has been quite overwhelming. I've had some friends who've given me some beautiful things to use. I've had other friends who have actually sourced some things for me that I've wanted to use. So it's just so fun. It's kind of like treasure hunting for me. Does anybody else feel like that when they're making these journals and they're finding goodies to go in them? I just feel like I'm treasure hunting, and I think that's part of the process I love the most. You know what they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Oh, I will go that way. Something about the written word being sideways or upside down that my mind just doesn't cope with. This piece has a little bit of ink on it, guys. I didn't notice. Terrible. I broke my own rules. Oh well, it's glued up now. Okay, that page is getting quite sticky, so I'm just going to add a little extra glue. I don't think I was paying attention then. I probably shouldn't have used that page, but what's done is done. Okay. Even these double prints, I love the way it's softening things. It's so pretty. Okay, a little bit of Tracie Fox. I have a song in my head now. There's a terrible knowledge about me that I haven't actually shared on here before, but I have a tendency to hear people speak or have my own thoughts, and with whatever is said or whatever thought I'm having, next minute I have a song in my head. So I'll try not to send you too crazy with that, but honestly I can't help it. It's just the way my mind works. So I'll share with you all. I've just said a little bit of Tracie Fox, and with that I've got the Mumbo number 5 in my head. And I'm not going to sing it for you, but it's now playing. Oh my goodness. I can't help it, guys. Music is definitely one of my passions, and I like all sorts of music. There isn't a whole lot. I don't know who I think I was talking to one of my children the other day. We were having a discussion about music, and there isn't a whole lot that I don't like. Obviously, there are some things that I would choose not to listen to if I had a choice, but I wouldn't say it's because I really dislike it. It's just not my go-to. Which way? I kind of like that it has Tchaikovsky's name there. I don't know. I'm going to go that way. There's just not enough music notes on the other side for me to really be happy with it. I really need to clean my bone folder. It's got, feels like it's got bits of glue building up on it. Tracie Fox. Actually, that graph paper I'd like a little bit more. I quite like the way this is coming along. My fingers are so sticky right now. I can't get the paper off. Okay. Fabulous. Oops. That was a boo-boo. Okay. I do have a white edge here, so I'm just going to tear in the opposite direction to remove that. That's a little bit too much white for my liking. And in the long run, it may not make that big a difference, but feel like my paper keeps moving around. I'm hoping it's okay. You can kind of see a little bit of my hot mess going on. I try and keep it off camera as much as I can. I don't want to overwhelm you all, but it seems to be just how my mind works. They do say a creative mind is a busy mind, so I'm totally going to go with that. Okay. This collage process is so fun, but gosh, I end up with a lot of things on my desk. As my next journal is for an itty bitty, these pages are from a children's book. It's actually from a Babysitter's Club book, as opposed to, quite often in the past I've used like Reader's Digest books, but I didn't want to do that for this journal, just in case the text was a little bit heavy in content. About this one. Oh, there's that sleep deprivation again. I just went really quiet. Apparently tearing paper is really hard work, guys. I don't like that it's got this reddy tinge to it, just because I don't have any other red going on in what I have in front of me, so I'm going to use a different piece for that reason. And the image was sideways, so that wasn't really working for me either, if I need to be honest. Oh, goodness, my fingers are getting stickier and stickier. I think I'm actually concentrating so hard because the page is literally stuck to my finger. I might take that all the way down there. Oh dear. When the glue book is getting too tacky and your paper sticks. Never mind. I'd really like to tear that off now. Okay, I have a couple of little pieces left. Something plain there, I think. Oh, I just want them to go in the bin. That one. Okay, one last piece. Is this going to be it? Nope, not quite. But that one works. Just wasn't quite covering that gap. That's a bit better. Okay, I might turn the camera off now and we will come back for a part 2. I just want the glue to dry a little bit before I move forward because it is a little bit tacky in places. So there's just a bit of background showing there. I just needed to cover that up. So I'm going to leave that and let that dry, and then I will come back for the next part of my experimental process. We'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Happy crafting. See you soon.